Right, everybody, welcome in. Welcome to the Women's Wellness Network, and welcome here to our guest today, Mercedes. Hello, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. It's very nice to meet you. And we were just having a little chat before we got started here. And Mercedes has an incredible story of just her journey and her will and her way and how she's making her way in the world, and it's amazing. Okay, Mercedes, why don't you start off by introducing yourself a little bit? Tell us where you are in the world.
Okay, of course. Well, thank you again for having me on. I am Mercedes. I currently reside in Idaho, and right now we're just hanging out at our grandma's house. She lets me use her garage as my office, so that's where we are today.
It's beautiful, wonderful. Well, I'm not in a garage, but I'm in a hallway. So, right, we make do. We do what we can from where we're at, and just continue forward. So, why don't you start off telling us a little bit about what it is that you're doing in the world?
I am a breathwork coach. I received my certification about a year and a half ago. And what I do primarily is helping people learn how to regulate their nervous system through their breath to combat the negative effects of stress on everyday life, especially for people that have a lot to juggle around and have a hard time managing their stress through it all, being able to remain balanced and centered and grounded. And even during the most difficult times.
I totally agree with that. I know I began my own little breathwork practice in a time of necessity, feeling very terrible in that moment and needing something. And the magic of the breath is you always have it with you. If you're living, you can utilize it. And yeah, managing that stress factor, I think is it's the beauty of the thing because it transforms, it transforms you in that moment. So why don't you take us back? I know you were telling me a little bit about your story. Take us back to how you realized that, this was going to be your calling and that um, how you find it so valuable, why, the things in your life that made you recognize that it was valuable.
Wow. Well, yeah. I guess a little recap if I can. This will be
Yes,
good
please.
practice for me. So I am originally from New York City. I had a very rough upbringing growing up. There was a lot of traumatic experiences and things like that. And um, a little later on, I ended up in foster care, aged out after 18 years. That's the age they age out. And from bounced around from shelter to shelter. Finally, I did start getting on my feet a little bit and then ended up in an abusive marriage. Um, were involved, physical abuse, mental abuse, all that sort of thing. And it came to a point where I had to recognize that if I don't leave my life and my daughter's life, I had a child with this person at the time was in danger. And so from there, I left and went to bounce around from a couple of more shelters. And fast forward a couple of years, I remarried to my middle school crush, and we have another son, and is a blessing beyond blessing, beyond blessing, beyond blessing. He is my soulmate. And so I got very, very, very fortunate for that. But we have struggled a lot, even the beginning of our relationship with my stress and with the things that were going on at the time. My husband was working, having a lot of issues with construction. They unfortunately deal with a lot of things like not getting paid on time or not getting enough hours. And then you have COVID that hits on top of that. And then you have the winter on top of that. So now you don't have, the work you need and then the resources because everyone's buying all the toilet paper and everything like that.
Right.
And so it was very, very stressful. And some I had some physical ailments that kept me from being able to work a regular job. I have a heart condition. And so it was just sort of an accidental on purpose type of thing. I don't even really know how to explain the process of how I actually got into work, but there was this gal who I watched her journey before she even became big in the breathwork world. She ended up in magazines and all of these. She's just an amazing gal. I don't know if she might be in this group or not. Her name is Audra Bear with the breathwork teacher training, and that's who trains me. I was able to watch her journey. She was before who she is now, a stripper in Las Vegas just to make ends meet. It wasn't really something that she probably wanted to do. And then she was also in an abusive relationship and all of these things. And then she started talking about this breathwork stuff. I started paying attention because it was interesting. And she started popping up with videos like how breathwork helped her to pay off 10 grand in debt and all of these things and leave an abusive relationship. Breath work can do all that? Really? And then I got into it. I'm like, okay, so I took a big deep breath at the time. I looked at my taxes. I had enough left over to at least throw in my first month for training and go from there. And that was the most terrifying and most rewarding decision ever. I mean, since having my kids and marrying my current husband and stuff like that, but it was really the best decision I ever made since learning about breath work, learning how to regulate my nervous system. I realized with all of these things going on, it made so much sense. The complexities of life contribute to our stress. That
Mm,
makes things so difficult and you know, you have your bills and your work and your children and all of these things. And the way they affect you is also complex. But as we were speaking earlier, when you're looking at it from a scientific perspective, it is merely just a chemical imbalance in your body. And when you can realize it's something that simple, even though what contributes to it is not simple,
right.
then you realize you have this natural built-in defense mechanism towards stress. All we have to do is learn how to utilize it properly. A lot of people, when they want to, you know, seek better modalities on stress management or getting healthier, for example, they'll go to water, they'll go to eating better, sleeping better, all of those things, which are very good, very important, but they completely bypass the foundation, our breath. When you're not paying attention to how you're breathing, you're not giving your body the amount of oxygen that it needs to be able to process what you're trying to do. And that is a stress is a product of a dysregulated nervous system. A dysregulated nervous system is a product of your body not receiving enough oxygen. So a simple fix for that is start to increase your body's oxygen. And that was the scientific side of breath work. And I have a master class where I'll be going through all of that, the science and whatnot behind the brain function. It's a year and a half going, I love science. So I went heavy into this when I started looking, when I started learning it and actually experiencing it myself.
Right.
I have been able to I have a lot to juggle around. I have two kids. One of them is special needs. I homeschool my children. I help my husband take care of our grandparents. Unfortunately, they cannot afford the care that they need, so we're pretty much we're all they got. On top of that, trying to build something so that I can actually provide for my kids, and a lot of the intention behind it is being able to just give my kids everything that I didn't have an opportunity at a decent life, being able to have options and being able to give them the education the attention they need from me and sort of thing. Um, a lot of those things require you to be able to manage your stress effectively and immediately because there's a lot of unpredictable things that can come up. Your kids can have a bad day. Your husband can have a bad day. The grandparents you're taking care of can have a bad day, and all of those things, especially if you're a what is the word sensitive person, those things can affect you. and
Yes,
you react to it. And when you don't know how to manage the way you react to it, a lot of problems start to happen. And especially stress, your cortisol levels are rising. Your body is now having to compensate for all of this energy that it feels like. Your body doesn't understand the difference between circumstance. It doesn't know what exactly is making it stressed. It only
it's
knows
very
that it's
true.
stressed and it reacts in the same way. And a lot, back then it was the tiger around the corner type
Right.
of stress. Now
Yeah.
it's all this chronic type of things like that really just
Well, even the world,
got us
right?
so
Like,
far. Yeah,
yeah,
it
even the
got us
world right now
so,
is crazy.
it is. And really, everything I learned from this practice and all of the ways I've been learning how to, I didn't have ability except for the 8 weeks in training. I wasn't able to afford that. So I had to figure this out on my own. And that's why it took me so long to actually get to the place where I have the courage to get out there and say, hey, I found something that works. I had to put a lot of work into figuring it out for myself. And
Right.
it was a that's why I have some of the exercises that I put into the master class. There were a lot of things like when I first started in the techniques. At first it was like I thought I had to sit there for an hour breathing in order to start experiencing the benefits, but then gradually learn more about the practice. It's like, no, really all it needs is taking a few deep breaths. The more you practice this, the more you experience the benefits, but you will experience them regardless if you practice them for a few minutes or for an hour. And
Right. Well,
so,
that's got to be the point, though. Learning, knowing when to do it, noticing, being aware that, oh, I need to do that. I need to not breathing properly. I'm
mm,
feeling stressed, right? Knowing when these things are going on so that you can put the thing into practice. I'm going to ask you a question. Have you done these practices with your grandparents and with your children?
yes, so my son, oh, I used to try to this is the beautiful practice. It actually helped me start feeling like I could spend time with my children and not feel so overwhelmed at the end. So I started actually showing them when they were getting into like their moods or whatever. I saw them starting to bicker, whatever it is. I would look at them, hey, you want to try smell the flowers, blow out the candles. That was my method. Smell the flowers, blow out the candles. And they actually enjoyed learning how to do that. And from the hardships we were experiencing at the time, my son was 2, turning 3 on his birthday. It was very hard because I couldn't even afford to get him a cake. And it was heartbreaking for me that I can't celebrate my son on the day he was born, the day he changed my life. And I was trying very, very hard to hide how I was feeling, but he's a Pisces. He's very in tune with me, very, very in tune. It's scary. But one day he comes up to me, he's like, Mommy, cry? And I'm like, well, yes, Mommy's a little sad. And then all of a sudden he looks at me dead in the eyes and he has this very serious look on his face. Mommy, what? My 3-year-old. How many 3-year-olds do you know that would do that? Beckon their own mother to just breathe. And then daughter, she likes doing it too because she is autistic. I also fall on the autism spectrum, but she shows it a lot more than I do. Um, and whenever she starts getting her shakes and she's feeling herself getting riled up, she actually okay, Elisa, she'll talk to herself. This is the cute thing. Okay, Elisa, smell flowers, blow out candles. And then she'll actually come to me sometimes, like, Mommy, want to smell flowers with me? And
Oh,
so and then now my grandmother, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, she was getting curious about what I was doing because they didn't understand what I was doing, and they didn't know if it would work or not, but in any aspect, they were supportive of me anyway. But now they're starting to see things are moving around, and now she's getting curious. What is this with the breath work? And I showed her my workbook and all of the information. She's like, that's what I am, that's what I'm experiencing. Really? I have to do this? I want to try that. And then she actually started sitting there. She came back home. She was breathing heavy. It's very hard for her to get around. And doing because she has to go to physical therapy twice a week. Doing as simple as going to there and back is enough to bring her down for the rest of the day. Breathing heavy, not being able to barely walk from the front door to her bedroom without wanting to collapse. And she, and as I was explaining a technique to her, she actually started to try it. And then she started coughing and she's like, this is helping me. I haven't been able to cough because she has a lot of phlegm in her lungs. I'm able to cough this up on my own because she is also a smoker.
Mm.
And she tried for a good 8 months, just recently, a good 8 months quitting. And then she recently lost something very special to her, which kind of sparked it back up again.
Mm.
And, she would sit with me out in the front door. She'd be smoking and hacking. She's like, I really want to stop smoking, but it's like smoking is the only way to hack this stuff up. Then the other day in the garage, she starts breathing and she starts the same thing, hacking whatever she got the hack up. And she's like, this is helping. I can clear myself up. I actually want to start doing this. And she goes talking about, do you want to start walking around with me? I want to get healthier. I want to get off of this oxygen one day. I want you to help me. And I'm like, freaking yes.
Right?
And so it got me even further into research. Now I want to research people on oxygen, people with COPD, and all of those things. And eventually, I want to bring this to the places that need it the most,
Right.
especially like places with people that are on oxygen, and then going deeper, places like I had to be into shelters
Mm,
because those
yeah.
people are needing it very badly. I had to, at one point, there was a time where I was struggling very, very badly, and I was single at the time. It was just me and my daughter. I ended up having to place her with someone else because I just couldn't take care of her. And that's when CPS came into the picture, Child Protective Services. I reached out to them though, and they thought that was weird. I didn't understand what Child Protective was at the time. I thought it was just, someone that helped single parents with whatever they needed. And it went deeper than that because I had a guardian ad litem and she was a spiritual type of person too. So I all of these little experiences that I've had in my life brought me to here. And it's like I get to now see everything is connected back to the breath, everything. And when you're able to connect back to your life force energy, you'll be able to do literally anything because you can keep yourself balanced through all of it. And that's the main thing is homeostasis. Are you familiar with that
Oh,
term?
yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yes, yeah. And breath work is one of the most powerful ways for your body to achieve and maintain a state of balance. And so I'm excited. I can talk all day about this, and I don't want to take up too much time,
Because you're
but if
so passionate, because you're passionate about it, because you know that it works, because you know that you have something to give, you have something to share with people that you know is going to help them. And you've been in that place where you've been on the other side. You know what that is. And now you've come full circle. And now you're going to be the person who's assisting those people who were like you, those people who were, suffering and struggling, and the children, the older people, like
mm,
everybody breathes. We all breathe. So absolutely learning from being a small person, um, I think is fundamental. I think these are the things that we should be teaching every child, every day, everywhere on the planet. Why not? It helps. It helps them cope. It helps them understand that they can do it themselves. And then
Mhm.
our elders who are, they came through a different time period with different ways that we were doing it, especially here in the Western world. And for older people to realize I can actually make a difference in my life. I can make a difference just by sitting here doing this work. And it's the simplest work I think that you could possibly do. You're going to breathe anyways. So
Mm.
why not utilize it in a way that's going to be beneficial for you? Okay, masterclass. You have a masterclass coming up. Please tell us about it and when it is.
Yes. Okay. So the masterclass will be happening August 25th from 2 to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm in Idaho, and we'll be going there. There's going to be a lot involved. It took me a year and a half to plan this, so I went crazy with it. I have a lot of science-based information on stress itself and how to understand how to understand stress, how it affects your brain, how it affects your nervous system, the negative physical, psychological, and emotional effects of stress, learning about breath work behind the scenes, basically the mechanics behind it and actually how it actually works. And so we'll be diving deep into a lot of high level information, but more than the information is the implementation. And so I wanted to make sure I included things for people to be able to actually explore this practice and its benefits on their own time and pace. So I will have three guided breathwork tracks. I created one for a 15-minute for before bed, one 10-minute for the morning, and one 5-minute for just midday perk me up type of things. And then I will have a Facebook group that people can come that I will add actual technique tutorials so people can play around with the technique as well. And with the masterclass exercises that I included, um, one of the exercises I was talking about when at first I was learning all this, I didn't really know how to tell if this was actually working. So I wanted to find some kind of physical, tangible evidence. And so I came up with an exercise I included into the masterclass, which is, I will explain it here actually. So in a sympathetic state, when people are in a stressed state, typically they breathe at a rate from 16 to 20 breaths per minute. When you're in a rest and digest state, typically you're breathing at a rate from 6 to 12 breaths per minute. So an easy way to tell first what state you're in is to just sit and breathe your normal breathing pattern for just a minute. Tally up your breaths. Inhale, exhale equals one breath. Do that for a minute. Count your breaths. That's how you can tell, okay. Because a lot of people, they don't even realize when they are stressed. They just know that they feel crappy. And when you don't know that you're stressed, just the lack of that knowledge alone is enough to contribute to more of it. And so bringing awareness to what state you're actually in, then I will be having a breathwork session for people. It'll probably be around 25, 45 minutes. I'm gonna go with the flow on that, just go and go from there. But afterward, I will be repeating the exercise again so that people can actually see how their body responds to it. And that's the exercise I use a lot through developing my own practice. First, I started off at, okay, 5 minutes, this breath technique. How did my body respond? Am I where I want to? Okay, maybe not really. So I'll increase another 5 minutes and then stuff like that, or I'll change the technique. The beautiful thing about this practice is that it's completely tailorable to fit your unique lifestyle. You can
Beautiful.
completely tailor it. Yes. And
Yeah,
so
that's
I will
that's
be
that's
going
awesome.
through, yes, and I'll be going through different ways on how to do that. Um, and hopefully I will inspire some ideas for people to be able to try out this practice on their own. I do have a 3-month mentorship program that I will be promoting at the end of the masterclass, but that is specifically for people looking for a structured group setting, wanting to actually get help in implementing this practice into their life. I include 6 lessons that I feel, in my experience, were important in being able to have a successful practice. Um, Elements like proper breathing, for example. In It's like I have the diagram in my head of how this works. When you're breathing through your nose, for example, versus breathing through your mouth. When you breathe through your mouth, you're allowing your respiratory system to be susceptible to more, diseases and pathogens and all of those things. Your nose is your body's natural built-in filter system for your breath. So I will be going through teaching how to people te teaching people how to learn how to breathe through their nose by default and also breathing through their stomach versus their chest. When you're breathing through your chest, that stimulates your body is thinking, okay, I'm going to prepare for something. We're going to have to move. What's going on? You're going to get stressed breathing through your chest. Breathing through your stomach, you're activating your digestive tract. Blood is getting sent to your digestive tract. That's why it's called rest and digest. Your body feels safe again to relax and all that type of thing. So I'll be also having some guest speakers coming in because my group is specific for um, or my program, my 3-month program is specific for groups. I do have a couple of one-on-one support elements. I have a very special bonus that includes subconscious reprogramming with belief coding facilitators. If anyone is familiar with that at all, if you're not, look up Jessica Cunningham, belief coding, subconscious reprogramming.
Mind
I
blowing.
like to say mind growing.
Mind growing. Oh, there you go. Beautiful.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
And
That's amazing.
I will have a guest speaker to come on and talk about belief coding as the bonus that program. But I will also have another breathwork coach come in and because she's also new and she's always been supportive of me. So you know what? Why not? Come on in. Let me
Yeah.
tell people about you. She does one-on-ones. So if people learn about the practice and they feel that it's something that would align to them and would benefit their life, but they're not very comfortable with structure, they would like to receive support one-on-one to be able to learn more about this practice, then they would have another that I will be presenting available for that. And as well as I think 1 or 2 people sharing their actual personal experiences. I also have some stories in there of other people. My breathwork teacher is in there. Her story is in there. A couple of the
Nice.
people from my classes' stories are in there, and they are crazy. When you were talking about, um, especially breathwork being needed to be brought into children's lives, one of the people in my class, he has over he has like 30 years, around 20 to 30 years of experience in being a special education teacher. And he's also a very seasoned intuitive coach. He does breathwork meditation and a whole bunch of other different things. And he's been bringing these modalities into the schools and pretty much shifting the way alternative and special education programs work. And he's been changing the lives of children and other people in his community too. So it's stories like that I want people to see what's possible for their life if they choose to heal, if they make that step. And it's a scary step because we're so familiar with how things already are. Our brain is designed to keep us safe. So anything that's new, anything that's different, it's going to be like, don't know about that. But that's why they say you have to get out of your mind and into your body because your mind will be filled things that aren't fully true. But your
It is not the
body
truth.
will never lie to you. Your
Right?
body won't lie to you.
Yes,
So learn to be in tune
absolutely.
with your body. That way, you will have more control over your thoughts. You will have more control over how you respond, how you react. and besides the physical and scientific elements of the benefits of the practice, I'm not one, oh, you will have so many profound transformations and become your highest self. Those things will happen, but honestly, who really talks like that? You
Right,
know, I mean,
right,
this practice will definitely bring about those types of things in your life. But I more on the facts. And then
right.
from there, people will be able to experience on their own, and whatever comes of it, I'll be honored to have been able to guide them into this practice. And
Right. Yeah, you're
so
kind of
thank you
gonna,
so much.
oh, you're so welcome. You're kind of meeting them where they're at, and they're gonna take what resonates with them and what feels right for them. And that is the thing.
Yeah.
It is a practice. It is something that I think, you grow into. It's something that, oh, lost my earbud. It's something that you uh the more you do it, the more things that do open up, the more realizations that you have because you're even just because your thoughts are clearer, because the chemistry is changing in your body, and that's super important to have um, good clear chemistry in your body, maintaining homeostasis and being in balance is, I know it's key. I kind of had to make myself get that way after, a bunch of things in my own life. Um, but discovering that and realizing that how the power of the breath and the way it works in our lives, that we don't even think about it, can be super powerful to change our life in all
Mm.
the ways, physically and mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. When you get to that space, and when you practice a little bit more, and you realize that things evolve and that everything's encompassed, I
Mm.
guess, in there. So if our women would like to reach out to you, if they want to know more about your masterclass, want to know more about your 3 month program that you have coming up, or find out about your Facebook group, how can they reach you?
Oh, yes. Okay. Is I'm not familiar with how to use the Zoom things too much. Is there a way I can type out my information as I say it
Well, what
so
we'll
people
do
can
is
read it? Oh,
we will have you go back into our interview. So as soon as we're finished here, you can go into the live interview. It's right there already in the group, and you just
okay.
type your information into the comments. That way, we have all the perfect spelling, and you can put all the details that you want to put in there. So
Okay.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
awesome,
Well, I am okay. I am on Facebook as Mercedes Park, and then also on as Anima Inspire. A lot of people are like, "What does that mean?" If you want me to, I'll explain it real
yeah.
quick.
Tell us, yeah, go for it.
Anima is it's a root translation. It means your breath or your soul or your true self, your soul self. So inspired by Anima Inspire, inspired by your true self,
Nice,
soul
that's
self.
beautiful. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Wonderful. Okay,
Yeah.
women of the Women's Wellness Network. If you'd like to connect with Mercedes, or as we said, find out about anything else that she has to offer, we will have her put all the information into the comment section so that you can connect with her, go over to her Facebook group, see what it's all about, and maybe join one of her programs. So thank you again, everybody, for watching. And of course, until next time, be well. And thank you so much, Mercedes, for coming today. It was lovely to meet with you.
We're excited to connect with you guys. I hope what I have to offer will be of so much support to you guys. And so I'm excited to see you there. The masterclass is called Common Chaos. Unfortunately, with the Zoom plan that I have, I'm only allowed to have 97 or 100 seats. I have 97 available. So I will also figure out a way to make sure that I can um, make a replay of the masterclass available for anyone that might not be able to make it, but they still want to learn about it too. And with the masterclass replay, they will also have the tools sent to them through email as well. So it's
Cool.
nothing like if you don't actual live, you won't get access to the tools included in it. No, I want everyone needs this. I want everyone to be able to have access to this. So if this is something that aligns to you, then it would be my honor to share it with you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming today, and we'll connect with you again.
All righty. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much, Tam. Oh, that's how you leave. Okay. Bye.
Oh, you didn't have to run away. Okay, no worries. All good.